Hey guys, so this video is all about using light, softboxes, and other modifiers to take food photography. I get a lot of questions from students and people online asking me, what lighting do I use? What softbox do I like? Do I recommend umbrellas? And what difference do the modifiers actually make? And the general answer I give is that the softboxes and modifiers that you use do make a difference. It does largely matter what kind of subject matter of food and drink you are photographing. However, it doesn't really matter what modifier you use really. It mostly depends on how you shape it and how you use it. So the first modifier I'm going to use is a large Profoto umbrella. Very bright, amazing. Soft shadows, nice color tones. So that was side light. Now I'm moving it towards the back for some backlight. The result, also very bright, very nice color tones, nice and soft. My personal favorite lighting setups is a side and or backlight. Okay, now towards the front. Okay, very bright, very soft, also nice color tones. Love it. I do like a bit of front light, but mostly for a studio photo shoot, not really restaurant. And over here I am tilting the umbrella downwards to try and create more of that very high angle type of lighting. And the result is kind of a mixture between the front and the side. Even though the photo is slightly overexposed, I actually don't mind this light. And another question I get is, what kind of lighting is the best? Like, how do I know what's correct? And the truth is, the correct lighting is, whatever you envisioned in your mood board to your client beforehand, but also whatever you think looks best. Like, what do you like? You are the creator, you are the artist. It is your choice. Okay, so I placed the umbrella further away. It's also important to note that I increased the power because I was going further away, and then I lowered it to try to balance the light a little bit more. And the point that I was trying to demonstrate there is, if you want a different look, if you want the light to look a little bit different, you can actually try to, instead of changing the angle of the light, you can distance the light further away from the table. Okay, so here we are changing to a rectangular 2x3 softbox. This is actually one of my favorite modifiers to use for restaurants. Cool. Because it does limit the spread of light with its shape, but also the 60cm by 90cm softbox is quite small or more compact for a restaurant. Okay, it's a little bit too bright, so I will lower the power. As I was saying before, sometimes the umbrella can be a little too big, so having a softbox like this is nice compact. Okay, so I lowered the power of my light, and now it looks far more balanced. It's also important to know that sometimes students of mine will say that they would change the camera settings in order to make the photo look brighter or darker. Don't forget that your light also has variable degrees of power. So be sure to change the power of your lighting in order to make the photo brighter or darker, if you can. So now I'm placing the light a bit further away, and as you can see, it got darker, obviously. Being further away, distance takes the light a bit longer to travel to your subject matter. Okay, bring it closer now for that side light. I love that contrast. The contrast is exactly why I do like side lighting. And if I turn it, let's see what happens. Not much. Let's just see those side by side for a second. Okay, so the first picture is the one where the softbox is upright. And this picture is where the softbox is tilted 90 degrees. Obviously not much difference. One was slightly darker, and that's because the light spread differently, but if you're wondering, what is the difference and why would I do this? For me, it would come down to how the highlights and the shadows spread. So if you notice the shadow on the teacup on the left hand side, as the softbox changes, the spread of that shadow changed a lot. Not to the naked untrained eye, but just enough. And sometimes that can make a big difference in your lighting, but honestly, I wouldn't go wasting your time doing this unless you were absolutely curious, you know. Okay, so back to the softbox the upright way, and I'm now creating some backlight. And this is why I do like using the 2x3 softbox. It does limit the light spread and create some really cool effects like this. See how the box is so close to the curtain? Well, it's created this kind of like angular diagonal shadow, and this could come very useful when you're looking in a restaurant with lots of detail in the background that you don't actually want. So bring it closer now. Despite the box being in the photo, you can see that the box has almost completely gotten rid of most of the color and the highlights in the background curtain. And now more flagging. I'm going to place a light right behind the curtain and see what happens. Hits the curtain in some areas, but then the rest of the curtain, the waves actually flag the rest of the light on the right hand side. You know, and why this matters in restaurants is because, you know, when you're working in a restaurant with like walls, curtains, windows, waiters are coming and holding food, they're going to flag your light. And you want to be aware of that. Okay, so here's a front light. Not my favorite light for restaurants, but that's just what the softbox does. And now I'm going to bring it further back to show that, you know, the lighting will change. It'll be darker, but it's just to show how the light can still get your subject matter, even from that far away. So just a tip, if you're finding that you are not getting that nice spread of light that you would normally get, do try to bring your light further away. But also remember that when your light is further away, you know, your subject matter may be darker, so you may have to increase the light power or the ISO, or decrease the shutter speed, or, you know, lower the f-stop to something like if you were 6.3, try 5 or 4. Okay, so now we are going with my Octa. The Octa is a smaller, different shape. Plus, it's important to know that we're working with a fifth of the power from the previous light. Great, so that is like front-ish side light, which I love. Lots of light contrast. And now moving it further back and increasing the power as well. Nice. I like that a lot. When I mentioned earlier about like it doesn't really matter what modifier you use to some extent, like this is a prime example. This Octa modifier was able to shape that light very, very well. It did a large spread, but now I'm going to show you what it looks like when I go closer up. So closer up, the results would change. So I lowered the power here and I went from the side, and now I'm going closer. It's almost like a spotlight look.
You look like the Pixar.
Then I go around to the back, and you can see the shape is actually limiting the light from the curtain. And I don't know why I'm jumping here, I just am. And here's some backlight. And now I'm going lower to show you what low angle straight on light is. By the way, this light is great for, say, cocktails. And now I'm going straight on but further down. This light is very moody. Maybe that's what you want. And here we go from the front. And from the front but higher up, higher angle. Now let's have a quick look of the 3 softboxes and see the difference. So looking at the 3 photos side by side, this is the umbrella spread. This is the softbox 2x3 spread. And this is the Octa 60cm spread. All the modifiers did the same thing. They spread the light and made it soft. But the umbrella provided a wider spread, and as the softbox became smaller and had more of a structured shape, it actually spread and flagged the light differently. So it does matter how the softbox is used and how you want the light to be shaped. Thankfully, when it comes to food photography, Because most food photography is captured on a small table and the subject matter is quite small, you can technically get away with any softbox. My only thing to say when it comes to working with, say, glassware or reflective surfaces or very wide table spreads or large scenes, that's probably more when the softbox comes in handy and when the shape of the softbox and modifier is relevant. But I would say the larger the scene and more subject matter you've got, try and go for a larger softbox or a larger umbrella or a large sheet. And when it comes to cocktails, glassware and reflective surfaces, something angular, structured and long is probably your best bet. Or place a light further away and work on shaping the light around the reflective surface area to avoid glare. Or in some cases, make the glare work for you, make it look pretty. So here I am changing from the Octa to the strip box. So this is a 1x3 strip box. This is the kind of modifier that I would use for either limiting the spread of light or really using this for, say, glassware, reflective surfaces. Sometimes I'm working in a restaurant where there's not much space to use and my light has to be quite close to my subject matter, unfortunately. But with the strip box, because it has to be so close, and being quite close, it could cast, glare and reflections. This will just allow me to make it look pretty. As mentioned before, make it look pretty, make the glare look pretty, make it work for you. Like, notice the glassware in this picture. You can see that long streak of glare in the front. That's what I mean. Anyway, this modifier is still behaving like the other modifiers. It's lighting the whole scene. The colors look great. And now let's put the strip box to the side with some side light. And the lighting should be very similar to the last ones. And it is. Now I'm putting the softbox a bit further away just to demonstrate what will happen once it's further away. And you guessed it, good spread and darker. Now bring it to the back. And there we go. The strip box flagged the light on the curtain. Now flagging it behind the curtain. And look at that. Darker and more flag. Essentially, if you want like a moodier look, this kind of modifier might be something you could keep in your kit. And now we're just going to turn it and see what happens. Going to come to the back slightly and see what happens if I do there. And there we go, look at that, beautiful side back lighting. And now I'm going to move this light to the side. I'm not going to make the softbox upright because I'll keep it the way it is. And because it's spreading more, it should be... Here we go. At least horizontally. And now I'm going to lift it up. And now I'm going to bring it to the front. Still keeping it horizontal. And there we go. Front side light. And now I'm going to bring it all the way to the camera. Truly front on. And now the opposite. I'm going to go from the back. The opposite. Look at that. And that's what I mean. The softbox is the same, but the lighting looks different depending on how you place the light. This is a very good demonstration on it's not what you have necessarily, it's how you use it. I hope the lesson so far has been, it's not that you need all these modifiers, it's also not that you don't need these modifiers. I have these modifiers because I'm curious and I need a way to write off some of my expenses.
No?
But you don't need all these modifiers in order to be a good photographer. Sure, it's good to know what each one does, and of course I have no regrets having them all. And I think that if you have the means to have them all and to use them all, they could come in very useful, but by all means you don't need all of them. So here I have taken all the modifiers off and I've just done a bare bulb shot. Sometimes having no modifiers is just as cool and creative as having a modifier. I think rather than describing to where I'm going, it's kind of obvious where I'm going right now, but as you can clearly see, hard light is harsher, the shadows are stronger, the contrast is stronger. There's definitely a different vibe or ambience or feeling you get when you shoot with hard light versus when using a soft sheet diffuser or box or umbrella. I think a lot of photographers don't like using hard light because the results can be so harsh, but I personally do love hard light. It definitely can grab your attention. These kind of visuals are great for engagement. However, I think if done incorrectly, hard light can be very hard to look at for too long. So I think the key to utilizing and understanding hard light is to make it clean, keep the styling minimal or at least purposeful and intentional, and highlighting and emphasizing textures that work for the story and not against. I understand that what I just said may be quite hard to follow, but essentially what I'm trying to say is there is definitely a way that hard light can make food and food ambience look good. It's simply about practice and understanding how to do it. So here I put a Magnum zoom or Magnum reflector, I can't remember what it's called, on the bulb, and what it does is it actually makes it a lot more powerful. So I just want to let you know that I've not changed the power on the light at all. I've just put on the zoom reflector or zoom Magnum or whatever it's called, and what this does, it actually makes the power outlet a lot stronger. So I've still got the 500 watts at the power that it was on from the bare bulb, but now that I have the reflector Magnum on, it's a lot stronger, the light's a lot sharper, it's got a lot more oomph. This modifier is great for adding more power to your flash without actually giving it more power. I love it, it's just using basic physics just to make it more strong and more powerful. So I did a few effects there from the side, from the back, now the front. This is the kind of modifier that I would use if I wanted to emulate the look of like a high noon sun, late afternoon sunset. That Magnum is definitely used more than I think. The last modifier of this video is called a Snoot. Definitely my least used modifier, but because it's so compact and so handy, I just keep it on my kit at all times. But essentially I love using this Snoot to isolate light to a single, not a single point, but a small point. Again, I'm just going to rush through this because it's near the end, but essentially it limits a lot of light. You point it where you want the light to go and it goes there. You go close, it's brighter. You go further away, it's darker. And the closer you go to your subject matter, the more it flags. I think a Snoot is used more for, say, a lifestyle photo shoot or a product photo shoot, but there are definitely applications of this in like food and drink photography. I think more close-ups or macros. After this demo is over, I'll put up a photo of where the Snoot came in really handy. But if I'm honest, so far in my journey, I've used the Snoot maybe a few handful of times, only for very, very specific purposes. And there you have it. Those are the softboxes and modifiers that I keep in my kit. The umbrella, 2x3, an Octa, a strip, a Magnum, and a Snoot.